Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Electoral Dysfunction 2014. Now, please put your hands together for your host, the incredible Tom
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for coming out tonight to Electoral Dysfunction. At this show, what we do is we've kind of stolen the living room opening that Improv Olympic out in Chicago perfected. We expand it for about 20 minutes, and a panel of experts and comedians talk about everything that's going on in the world of public affairs and politics. Do me a favor, because I always forget at the end of the show. Give it for Mr. Michael Montalbano in the booth. If you would like something to drink, Kay is at the bar. Buy something and tip her very well. And do me a favor, start making some noise while I introduce our panel. First up, he's an editorial columnist for the New York Post, my buddy, my pal, my lifelong friend, Robert George. She's a blogger for True TV. Whitney Meers is back with us on the show. Very funny comedian and improviser. If you missed the show Centralia an hour ago, you might never see him again. Jay Rhoderick. Improviser and comedian and co-creator of The Last Show with Paul Gutowski. He's also press secretary for New York City City Councilman Dan Durannik. David Kimball-Stanley. Comedian and writer whose work has appeared in Marvel Comics, Comedy Central, MTV, all kinds of places. Lucas Hazlett. He's a host of the podcast Where the Fuck Are We? United States Army Master Sergeant Benari Poulten's back with us. USA! Yeah! It was awesome! And last but certainly not least, we're very honored to have her with us. She's the co-creator of The Daily Show, the founder of LadyPartsJustice.com, Lizz Winstead. Delightfully fun people don't end there. Joining us when we hop up to improvise will be two very, very funny and talented performers. Catch her this Sunday night with Fake Church and catch her tomorrow night with the Baldwins. Geoff Grimwood and Meg Griffiths are with us. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to your moderator. You can catch him tomorrow night with the flagship show of the New York City Improv Festival, Big Black Car. Nate Starkey's with us.
It up. Usually it's like left and right, but the conservatives are on the left now.
I just felt like throwing things in.
And Jay is just like, who knows? Like, why?
Oh, you will soon.
It's better for the audience now.
Right. It's a true mirror or something. All right, so let's start talking about stuff. We can talk about my crazy handwriting and what this means about me. All right. You're Benari, right?
Benari.
Oh. Say it again.
Benari.
Benari. Oh, I'm sorry.
It rhymes with Benghazi.
Yeah.
Wait, have we talked about Benghazi yet? That's a new record. There you go. I guess let's start.
Benari.
Yes. Robert George is very much like my iPhone. He too thinks my name is Benghazi.
I'll call you that tonight.
Did you mean Benghazi? No.
Let's see how long we can riff before we start talking.
You don't want to go there.
Well, let's start talking. We've talked about this the last three shows we've had. Crimea is still going on, I guess, right? What new is there to talk about here? Let's see. Let's start with, you got something? You seemed like you were, no, you shouldn't. You keep going. Let's start with Republican criticism about our president, his administration, and that Poulten is taking advantage of his weakness, right? Is that what's going on? Start with you, Robert.
Why am I not surprised? I think the main criticism is that the Republicans feel that the Russians have Russians have no reason to take President Obama seriously, given some of the statements he's made in the past on situations like Syria, red lines and so forth. And so you've got Putin who's going to say, if this guy was not going to be serious about going into Syria, why should I take him? Why should I be afraid of him?
Let's go to you, Benghazi. I want to ask you, comments from McCain and others about what exactly should Obama be doing?
Well, first off, I don't think Putin gives a fuck what anyone thinks.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do. We're talking about Russia, who was Reagan's arch enemy. Republicans should be like, holy shit, we get to fight the Ruskies again. You know, they should be psyched for the new Cold War. This was their heyday. So, I mean, if it were Reagan in office, they'd be rallying around him, and there'd be pictures of him with his shirt ripped off too, and fucking guns blazing, and we'd be kicking down doors and making Russian to Electric Boogaloo. But because it's Obama.
It's Russia 2 on the rocks.
Well, I'm sorry, you're right. Russia, which is, but it's kind of absurd to think that any of this has anything to do with any other country other than Putin and what happened in the Soviet Union. And as a former head of the KGB, he always felt that it was wrong when fucking Khrushchev gave Crimea over back to the Ukraine. So this has been his whole thing for as long as he's grown up. And when he was running the KGB, and when he's always felt that Crimea should be part of Russia.
Sure.
So this is nothing new for him, has nothing to do with who's president now.
Liz, say something smart.
Well, I mean, since 1991, when the first Orange Revolution happened, there was always this incredibly tenuous economic situation with Ukraine. And if it was propped up by the EU, and then there was always this dance. And I think that now, what the U.S. does, I don't know, because it's been the dance between the European Union and Russia, and we have sort of been on the sideline trying to, as American policy does constantly, which is massively annoying, is we seem to befriend total assholes whose countries think we suck. And then we never befriend the countries who really like us, but their leaders suck. Case in point, Iran. Iran loves America. Iranian leaders are fucking awful. We don't ever deal with the Iranian leaders to make the Iranian people happy. So I think that it's just a tenuous. I don't know what anyone expects Obama to do, except I think that while the intellectual arm of the conservative movement is saying exactly what Robert said about Obama, the mouthpiece douchebags who seem to constantly take over the conversation are saying, he wears a jean shirt in the Oval Office, what an asshole. Take it seriously. We talked to the guy with the plants. It's like, you know what? Lincoln wouldn't have done that. Lincoln was filthy. No one ever read anything about Lincoln. Lincoln told fucking filthy jokes constantly. Lincoln kept the fucking Union troops happy by going in and doing dick jokes constantly. I mean, it's
And he would have loved Zach Galifianakis'
Yes,
beard.
yes. So that's what I think.
Whitney, tell us why America should mind their own business.
Well, honestly, we're talking about like sanctions, right? But we have to be realistic about the fact that Russia doesn't give a fuck, right? I mean, does Russia get?
They're $51 billion in debt from that shitty Olympics they put together. So
they don't give a fuck, right? And here's the other thing that we sort of have to remember about this conflict, right? From what we're seeing from the outside is a very different perspective than what's actually happening internally inside of Russia, where there's, a lot of support for whatever's happening here. And granted, we can say that this is based on the news system that is very, very biased there, right? But I mean, if we go in, what can we really do, right? It's my personal opinion that if we were to go into Russia and try to make some kind of an impact, it's just going to be more of a loss of life that we can't handle.
Let me go to Kimball.
We should go there. No one is saying we should invade.
Right.
Except for John Bolton.
Well, so that's
Right. So Kimball, no one's seriously saying we should go into.
No, they're just they're just sort of like.
So what are they saying?
They're just sort of applying it heavily.
Yeah.
Right? There's because the idea that. I'm sorry. I actually think to be. I mean, I don't. the idea that Robert put forward earlier, that the problem is that Obama has not stuck to his red lines enough. I mean,
It's not the only
we
problem.
actually have in recent history an American president who, made up red lines that were already behind him and run into all kinds of countries, right? And what happened at the end of his term was Vladimir Putin invaded Georgia. So I mean, we had like
to his eyes, and
so-
he had a good heart.
So we actually had like a sort of natural experiment here to see what tough does against Putin, and it actually affected his behavior very little. And so the idea that like the problem here is Obama, it just, I mean, to me it seems like good politics, but it's not really based in real.
I think everybody agrees that Vladimir Putin is an asshole. Everybody agrees on that, right? So,
Does anybody want me to say?
I'll get pro-Vlad people there. Everybody, he is obviously the problem. But I think there are things that the president has done or has not, or has said in previous conflicts that I think is giving mixed signals.
But it's just a counterfactual that like obviously doesn't yield results, right? So if what Republicans would prefer is a president who goes to war with like whoever. And we've had that. We've had military adventurism in the past. We've had a Republican we've had a president who's interested in invading people for perceived threats. And he was the one thing you can say about George W. Bush is he saber rattled, but he took out the saber when the time came, right?
Jay,
That didn't help.
okay, Jay, tell us how lucky we are that McCain or Romney is not president right now.
Well, I think for a variety of reasons they would probably be rushing in. They would be listening.
Think they would?
I think they'd be listening to Mitch McConnell and other people who are the chicken hawks. I think what's going on with the economic sanctions might have some teeth. Russia's stock market was down 3% or something over the course of the week. They're really taking a hit. I think a real way to sock it economically to Russia would be to cancel some absentee owner condos in the Upper West Side.
Let's go to Liz real quick.
I was just going to say, I also think that the pragmatism, or the bit of pragmatism that Obama has about not instantly invading has been projected onto women's vaginas to the Republicans. And so since they can't just invade to countries, they seem to be invading the vaginas constantly.
Oh, come on, Liz. The Bush era is over, you know.
That's the first good joke Robert
Liz,
Yes!
you just threw bread to pigeons. He's gonna keep doing this shit now.
We're never gonna get rid of
You don't give hot dogs to stray dogs.
Don't you understand the best way to get rid of Republicans is to keep them talking?
So thank you, everybody. I'd like to
Let Lucas talk. Lucas wants to talk.
I do, but unfortunately I can't speak intelligently on a subject.
Yield
I'm
your
not
time.
prepared.
Oh, that's not stopping any of us.
Well then go, Kimball.
Well,
I yield my time.
It seems like you were.
Gentlemen, please. You look Putin to me right now. All right, give me a tidbit of facts and I'll rush to some sort of opinion. I'll tell you what we should
All right,
do.
go.
What are we doing?
This is what we should do. We should tell Vladimir Putin, do whatever the fuck you want, leave our interests alone. If the Ukraine wants us to get involved, they'll come to us and say and help us.
Dude, that's the problem.
The Crimeans did their little election, they did their little dance, they said, go, take us, fuck them. Fuck them.
The problem.
Help me get a good goddamn thing in this country. I got some shit growing on my body that I don't want growing there. I'm clean.
That's what I would say is, what should we do about South Sudan?
Thank you.
Well, and that's like why this is so interesting to me, right? Because we see this happening in like other parts of the world, and for some reason, like what we've really decided to hone in on Russia.
Well,
and
Russia signed an agreement with us and the Brits that they wouldn't forcibly force Ukraine to give up land or change their borders. The problem is they did violate an international protocol, and additionally, if there are no repercussions, what that means to the rest of the world is, well, if Russia can do this, then all bets are off. So there's a little bit of a domino effect that might happen. But the thing with the economic sanctions are, you don't know the next day if economic sanctions work. They were just put into place. And this is not something that will happen today or tomorrow. We have to give it a little bit of time. When you sanction someone economically, you got to let them bleed it out a little bit. before you let it work.
I agree with that. The only problem is, though, while we're waiting to see if the sanctions are going to have an effect on Russia, that's one more day that Crimea is basically officially part of Russia. And the longer that sticks out, there's less reason.
that-
What's
not
the
our-
constructive criticism
Yeah.
there? What's the constructive criticism there? Like obviously, you know, so economic sanctions aren't going to work in the next hour. So what would you suggest that the president do differently in the next, say,
Aside from
20
sanctions.
minutes?
Aside from sanctions, what else?
Well, but I think the president's doing the right thing. So you're asking me, and I'm like, well, actually, I think he's doing a pretty good job. So like,
There's thoughts about putting missiles back in Eastern Europe, which, you know.
I mean, like, to go back to the question you put to Jay, like what the difference would be if McCain or some awful other person, or Romney,
Which
were
was a
president.
good question.
It was a great question. Great question. If either of them were president, the real difference would just be the Republicans would be a little bit less crazy and would maybe have some sense of country and actually like not criticize the president.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, this topic bores me.
All right.
Let's talk about Paul Ryan's comments. He came under fire for sort of calling out the inner city culture as being lazy.
Fuck Paul Ryan.
And sort of summoned the wisdom of this
Listen,
Charles
I know a lot
Burrow
of
guy.
inner city cultures. I happen to have a partner who's an inner city culture. Well, they're really friendly.
I love those. He cited some work, the work of Charles Murray, this intellectual whatever, who claims that certain races are genetically lazy.
That's what he said?
Yeah, well, that's what Charles Murray said. That's what Charles Murray said.
That's actually.
He was just quoting him. He didn't mean to quote him.
Right.
You're actually complaining too if you.
I don't know. I just thought this would be something that we could all yell about. So go.
So Robert, why is racism okay?
Well,
Thank you for not giving me a little.
First of all, are Paul Ryan's comments subtly or not so subtly racist? And secondly, is there truth to the idea that certain cultures are prone to laziness? Is this a cultural problem?
You're complaining two things here. First of all,
Well, it's two different questions.
The initial attack on Paul Ryan, saying that inner city is a code for just black people and all this other kind of stuff. The phrase,
Isn't it?
the focus on inner city poverty and linking inner city conditions and poverty and so forth, you can find politicians on both sides saying the same. In fact, the President of the United States said it just a couple months ago. The President of the United States also 3 weeks ago linked poverty issues with cultural problems within the black community as well.
Except he was
when
talking
he
about making it
unveiled,
better.
no, when he unveiled,
He was talking about making it better, not white
when
people.
come on, that's
Well,
not
he
what Ryan was talking about.
He was talking about how social programs keep people
That they don't work.
That they don't work.
What he said was, after spending trillions of dollars in the war on poverty over the last 50 years, the actual poverty rate has only gone down 2%. And he's saying maybe we should do something, think about doing it in a different way.
Yeah, by not treating it like it's a war on something.
Well,
People
well,
can't fight wars. Why don't they do
disagree,
this?
but
Hold on.
That was Johnson's.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
actually, wait, the world of poverty worked. I mean, like, to say that it did.
Until they started gutting programs.
You know how it
problem
worked?
is
You
you
know
have to
how
have
the war,
programs.
but you know how it worked? Because they were able to take a significant number of black people, put them in prison, and not count them as statistics anymore. So now we've worked on poverty because there's not that many blacks to be called. That is. Let's talk about all the black folk in jail who would say that is
It
true.
is true that there are a lot of black people in jail, but it is not true that the Johnson administration's war on poverty worked.
I'm not talking about
Well, we're talking about the war on poverty, which was put in place by Lyndon Johnson.
Great.
Sorry.
Anyway, there were like three presidents who were fighting the war on Vietnam.
And they
That
were
doesn't
gutting.
mean- Liz is getting it.
Yes, Liz.
All I just want to say before she says this, hold on one second.
Inner city Liz,
Hold on, hold
come
on.
on, tell
I
us.
actually do believe that there is a cultural problem in inner cities with the black community. But it's a reactionary cultural problem. Because when you create conditions that seem like you cannot elevate yourself out of a shitty situation, you can only react by being like, well, why am I gonna bust my ass for fucking $3 an hour at McDonald's serving white motherfuckers if I don't feel like I'm gonna get protected by my government? If I feel like if I do something wrong, I'm gonna go to jail for something that some white motherfucker does, and he don't go to jail for the same thing. If I walk around, and I'm saying if I walk around, well not me because I'm 30, but if a 17-year-old kid walks around and he gets shot by some white guy who was like, oh my God, I was so scared, a jury of his peers go, we understand
That's
this.
Florida, not New York.
That's everywhere. Let's all go up to Harlem and watch a couple 17-year-old niggas get shot by a white guy and watch them get free. I seen it.
Liz, go. Yeah. Make sense of all this.
With your hair
And my, no, we're not going up there. Liz, did you have some thoughts?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I have thoughts. So often we look at the world in the world that we wish we lived in, and then there's the world we live in. And in the world we live in, there is poverty. And what has happened over the course of the past 30 years is that the poverty programs have slowly been defunded and slowly gone to the states. There are 5 states right now, just name them: Indiana, Texas, Alabama, Arkansas, and I think it's Louisiana, who you cannot qualify for Medicaid, a family of 3, if you make more than $5,000 a year.
It was, and always will be a class issue. This is about economic freedom, and the people who are put in these states that get the social programs that help the least are doing the worst. The poorest countries are the least educated. They have the least economic accessibility to better jobs, to better education, getting themselves out of that. And if you look at the states that spend money on social programs to help educate their kids and start young and give them education, give them opportunity, the kids in those states do better, and they get out of their economic areas, and they get out of...
Not to mention, when you're poor and you can't afford anything, you're fucking. So what do? They close down Planned Parenthood. Good job. Way to go.
Make more
Way to say the way we'd like to reduce the number of abortions is to remove access to affordable birth control. Way to go. Way to not understand the economic...
Whitney, talk to us about why we should have smaller government and stop funding education and Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, put it like,
That's what made
we should listen. Right after, but you know, we really do have to sort of think about what's happening here, right? Because we do see, and this is gonna, I know it inflicts a lot of hate, but we do see a lot of people using the social programs to their advantage.
What's a lot of people mean?
Pardon me?
What's a lot of people mean?
I mean, I don't know. Doesn't everybody in this room know at least one person?
Yes,
who's
all of
in
us.
line?
We all in this room use social programs which make us better. We use roads.
Wait a second. She's talking about unemployment, which I have abused many times.
A road is not a social program, please.
You pay into unemployment.
Yeah.
You get that money back.
Free me from
pay-
my kids.
Somebody has convinced you that you were abusing it.
Let me ask you
How are you
this
abusing
question.
it?
This is what I hear all the time when it comes to social programs. Don't you know somebody who's bucking the system? And yet, can I finish and then I'll let you go? And yet, anytime some guy with a fucking gun goes and blows away school, it isn't an individual. It is an individual. You know, it's
Right.
not like, oh, there's an endemic
Guns
problem in
aren't the
society.
problem.
Guns
This
aren't
is
the
one
problem.
person.
You know, so I don't understand. Yeah, we all know there's always going to be people that buck every system.
How about
Corporate
bad
America.
apples?
But that's also an argument for sort of a lot of my belief systems as well.
Absolutely, we
Can we
have common
sort
ground
of
here.
cover this, if we sort of lived in a space where we could really funnel, like a capitalist society where we all take responsibility for the actions and realize that we do have a social obligation to other people, but they weren't necessarily forced government programs where things move very slowly, where people are still getting fucked, obviously, right?
But we are, look, the
Bureaucracy
bureaucracy is
there's
the
an equal
problem.
playing field to start off with, but it isn't. And we have eroded certain places where people never got a leg up, and then they're shoved down. I mean,
A bad teacher doesn't mean that school's bad. And that's how we view social programs. If one person does this thing, we take the bad example and say the whole program's junk. Instead of trying to make it better and fix it for everybody.
I long to hear Jay's voice, who's too polite to interrupt.
I tend to agree. There's a double standard there. You know, we look at the freedoms that the right wants to have for gun ownership and the respect for the individual are not afforded folks who are underprivileged, structurally underprivileged, for generations underprivileged. The programs have been gutted, and particularly early childhood, neonatal and prenatal care.
I mean, if people would look at America literally and go, all right, nobody gets a subsidy. Just to take it just for a second, right, to do a reset, farmers don't get subsidies, corporations don't get subsidies, so they can actually find out how much a loaf of bread would really cost if we didn't, and then we start saying, all right, this is how much it actually costs to make shit work. Then maybe we pay a living wage.
Well, actually,
then maybe we'd figure out shit.
So just to point out though, like, I mean, I think this was actually said to Robert George while he was on TV. In Paul Ryan's plan, what kicked this whole thing off, he actually did call for doubling the earned income tax credit, which is saying that the president also wants to do. And so I do think, an interesting, and it's a good thing to do. It is a good idea that sensible people should want to do. So
It's actually smarter than raising the
By the
I
way,
think we should-
a social
but so
program
it's
success
interesting.
story, Paul Ryan,
So-
who benefited from social programs and is where he is now.
But we're not doing anecdotal evidence, right?
That's not anecdotal, that's
Because
But it's
his father
anecdotal.
died
It's
when he was
anecdotal.
younger and he inherited his
So
social security. That's a different
But
situation.
anyway, the point I wanted to make was that, Paul Ryan's in favor of this, he's put it in his budget. I would be willing to bet money right now that it will not get, I will bet Robert George $20 that does not make it out of the U.S. House of Representatives. And
Because Obama agrees with it.
Exactly.
And
Robert,
if
$20?
Paul Ryan if Republicans care about poverty and Paul Ryan is right, one would think that the earned income tax credit would get doubled and it would be pretty easy, right?
$20.
You all heard it.
I'm not going to take a bet on something
Maybe
that
I told you to, it's
depends on Congress agreeing on something.
Svetlana, look out your window.
Yes.
Look out your window. Is anything burning?
Burning.
Is anything burning out your window?
Burning like the city?
Buildings, trees, people, anything burning?
It looks like it's all burning to me.
Ah, they have implemented economic sanctions. Look out your side window.
My side window.
Yes, are the people to the north and south, are they dancing? Are they smiling?
Out. They all are dancing.
They're smiling?
Yes, they're smiling.
They seem happy?
Yes.
Ah, finally welfare has been instituted.
My God. Look at these tiny people that do you see? Do you see my heart beating so strong for you? You see it?
I see it.
I see it too. It's dancing, pulsating every time.
Because I put on my new watch.
Yes, that's what it is.
I saw
It's your watch. That's what it is. Your watch.
You say that as though you do not believe it is my watch.
It's not your watch.
What else could it be? I saved up my money, I bought a watch, I put on my watch. You love me.
I love you. I bought this bag of birdseed to feed the pigeons.
Well, you should not feed the pigeons. Feeding pigeons is like applauding Robert George for doing a pun. If you want it to happen every 2 minutes for the rest of your life, well then okay, but otherwise do not feed. Admire, but do not. Who could that be?
I heard you ask me to pitch in.
President Lincoln, Mr. President, the troops are all assembled. They're ready for your dick jokes.
Hell yeah! Get them out here!
Bring 'em on in.
All right!
We know you've been working really hard on this Civil War, so
Do you have shoes for us?
No shoes, but I got a new zinger about black dicks.
if you're
Ready?
ready for it, get ready for it. Get ready.
All right, I have my writer's workshop this week. weeks. I know we couldn't get you. I'm sorry about that arm. I have to take that.
I thought your voice would be higher pitched.
Why do you think that?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Also, it's a gay stereotype. You grew up you're a log cabin Republican.
I wrestled the man naked. That part of the biography is true.
Hey, it's very embarrassing. All of the troops know that you're gay.
Who's telling tales out of school?
It's certainly not me.
all right, I'm ready for my wrestling match.
Mary, can you come back later? And take our sickly children out of here.
This is the only place for them.
Oh,
They're
good,
there
I've
on the
got.
other-
Oh,
Mr. Speed.
Joshua Speed.
Yes, we know. We're all aware. And close the door, it's drafty. We'll all die.
Please, it's very cold.
Yes, it's very cold.
Joshua, I'm sorry, we can't wrestle today.
What?
We can't.
No.
My clothes are already off.
Well, I'll suck you off later, but we can't wrestle. Look, I didn't even get to tell my good jokes today, Mary. And you worked so hard writing on them, because everyone knows you're the writer. Women write jokes, they're funny.
Tell the world.
Mr. President, you assembled the members of the press because you had an important announcement about the creative culture of the Western civilization. Now look, 7 years ago, I met a woman. Women are not funny! Women are not funny! Six separate Tyrannis!
I'm not classist. I have a friend from an inner city community. I mean,
Is he black?
I'm just saying he's from an inner city community.
Are you trying to feel like you didn't notice if he was black?
I don't see color.
What's going on, man?
You I've wondered about.
What?
He was scary and wearing the hoodie, right? I was horrified. I followed him all the way here because I was so scared he was going to do something wrong. You saw him. He was scary, right? Oh, thank God I've got beautiful alabaster white skin. Oh, boy. I know the state's going to take care of me. Scooty boo 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 boo. Got it.
I'm a cop, make my own siren. Oh, here's the culprits. Come on, we're gonna take you to the big house. I saw you spook that white guy. I know, thank God he did, or we'd all be in danger. Come on.
Sorry.
Doctor, I'm really afraid I have this giant thing on my neck. And I feel like it's always been there, and yet maybe that's just my unemployment and no insurance talking.
Unemployment, you say? No insurance, you say?
Yeah.
You're fine.
Using the system. You're just trying to game the system for the Medicare assistance.
Here's the thing about the thing on my neck.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps also blaming me for Benghazi. And I'm like, no, it's not the same.
No, Obama.
Okay. You can get rid of this. You can kill this, right?
How has its behavior been for your self-esteem?
Well, I am.
Does it compliment you?
You slouch a little bit.
I feel like if
Get to your point.
if I work too hard, then
You never can explain yourself.
It's clearly malignant. It's got to go.
Oh, good. Oh, thank God. And this is all totally fine. I'm covered. I'm just going to pay you $20.
How much did you make this year?
I made $5,000. $5,000.
She's lying. She made $30,000.
I made $30,000. God damn you.
Then it's going to cost $28,000.
It'll be worth it.
All right.
You could probably grill this thing and live for about a week.
Oh my God. I feel so much better.
Would you like it marinated in anything particular?
But I feel like I want to work more and harder. That's what I feel.
You'll make that
Thank
28
you.
grand back in no time.
That's amazing. Well, that was easy.
Another dead goldfish. I've been keeping this goldfish on the burner here and feeding it, but the food doesn't work. They still die. This food program is inefficient. You feed goldfish and they just become dependent on the food.
I heard you right, though. You said they were on the burner.
Yes, that's where I keep goldfish.
What? Why'd you do that?
Why are you trying to distract me from the real issue here? Food does not work to sustain life. Clearly.
No, the burner is what killed them. That's what happened. You're frying your goldfish to death.
I want a divorce. We're just too different philosophically.
I've been telling you that for 5 years.
I know, I'm finally heard you. Well, I'll go pack
Let
my
me just
stuff.
tell you something. It wasn't not feeding them. I killed your goldfish because I don't like you.
What?
You knew that. I told you that 5 years ago.
Hey, here comes that cop with the billy stick.
Well, here's the culprit. All right, boys. I looked at the map.
The vagina's that way. And we're gonna take this war right to the source.
It's about goddamn time we went in there and just got something done.
Got it done.
Got it done.
Scared, Colonel.
I'm scared too, Sarge.
I've heard a lot of bad stories about these things.
Have you ever been in there before, Sarge?
Hey everybody, President Romney's coming by with some Mormon-style dick jokes.
Come on, boys, gather around. Come on, Romney. There he is. Romney.
I'm Romney.
Damn! We're going somewhere most of us have never been to the Antilles before.
Vagina.
China,
Yes, sir. You sent us there.
I don't like to hear that kind of talk. I will tell you some dick jokes.
We're ready, sir. We're ready, sir.
Why don't you see large dicks in the Mormon church?
Why?
Because we don't like black people. That's all I got. You're lucky to get that.
Thank you. Well, I can see morale is high. It's up now. Let's shoot this fucking cunt to death.
Ken Burns was never allowed to make another documentary. He never did substantiate his claims about what had happened during the years of what was clearly Obama's presidency, but according to his documentary, which he called Baseball Part 2. He said it was Romney. He said they fought several giant vaginas. Very, very confusing for everyone. Here to talk to us about it.
The guest that Geoff was about to introduce never showed up. So he had to keep talking and making stuff up all by himself. When suddenly Liz came out.
Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. My dear friend.
The vagina.
The vagina. We're taking questions for the vagina from the audience. May I hear one now?
I have a question.
Please, yes.
First question. Is it true that even a clean pussy tastes like pennies.
Follow-up question, if I may, while you think about the answer to that.
Yes.
Can you take two at once? Let her talk! We're expecting a monologue!
It depends what I've eaten in the morning.
Pennies.
Pennies and Activia. You can take 3.
Question?
Yes.
Why do gay people have this perception that vaginas taste like pennies?
Keep them in a fish tank.
Oh, interesting. Further questions, please. They rarely appear on national television.
So I have a question. I've been informed that periods attract bears, and I do a lot of camping. I would like to know if this is true, and if so, when can I expect the bears? Thank you.
Sort of a juvenile question. Everyone knows that pussy attracts bears.
Dad, why'd you bring me on this camping trip? I've been like feeling all crampy.
Honey, our family's starving.
How did that bear know where we were?
You're my secret weapon, honey. Honey, we're gonna eat all through the winter, thanks to you.
Thankfully, these are black bears.
Wait, you look like you're far away from a fish tank, sir.
I don't go to the fish tank anymore. I got drunk there one time too many, and they don't take me back.
My name's Gus, by the way.
Mine's Bruce. How's it going? It's going
Dad,
pretty
you've
well.
attracted a real bear.
That they've given us. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm even disappointed in you.
I'm also disappointed in me.
Well, we gotta stop having budget meetings with 9-year-olds.
All of our resources, I do not know what's left to do.
First of all, the math classes here suck, so it doesn't make any sense to have them.
Hi, I'm Texas. I'm here to put some curriculum together for y'all. First thing you need to know in your school, God did it all. God knows it all, done it all, did it all, will do it all, will have done it all. You don't need to worry about this math and science and learning type stuff. You can just put your praise right in the Lord and your prayers and your faith right in the Lord. Right over here. Right over here. Lord's everywhere.
I feel like I'm learning.
You're learning. You're learning. And you know where you're learning? Right in your soul. Don't eat your brain. Just got your soul. Now, I'm afraid you got...
Hi. I'm here at the request of Texas to present Texas's version of Cosmos. The Cosmos was created by God. The end.
How?
More of that. And one of these. Put some pants on.
That was 6,000 years ago.
Svetlana, take a book off of the bookshelf.
Say it again, I didn't understand you.
Take a book off a bookshelf. Any book. Take open.
I'll take the one book we have.
Mother, father,
Oh,
this condo on the Upper West Side is terrific. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Thank you very much specifically to Lizz Winstead, Jay Rhoderick for joining us today. The rest of these people are here before, so why thank them again. And give it up, Ethan, in the back of the room. Mr. Toby Nopes is killing himself to make this improv fest work for you. Thank you.
Tom Brennan, everybody!
We do this show the third Friday of every month at 9:30. Next month we'll be back in the same spot. Todd Todd Seavey, host of the Dionysium Lectures, and Libertarian Asshole will be with us. So check it out then. Thank you very much. Have a good night.